All right, welcome to Monday night training, everybody. This week, we're up to skill 5, which is building belief. So I'm actually going to share my screen for this one. Computer's a bit slow. Needs a bit of a clean out. Or I just need a new one. It's time for an upgrade. Okay, so yeah, building belief. So we've gone through 4 of the 6 skills so far. So the first is finding people to talk to, then talking to the people that we find, supporting our people, and then the skill of getting people to events. So skill 5 is building belief, which is a super important skill to build. And it's one that is a defining factor, but sometimes it doesn't get spoken about enough. I know Cal and Meg went to David Wood, so they'll know exactly what I'm talking about here when it comes to building belief. But often it's a lack of belief that'll cause us to sabotage our results with anything we do, but especially with something new like network marketing. So building belief and intentionally building belief is something that's really important to do. It's not something that'll just magically happen. It's something that we need to be intentional about. So we're going to go through tonight. I'll get through it quick, and then I'll get Rosa to share a little bit throughout some parts of it as well. So the first thing is we will only pursue something to the extent we truly believe in it. So, for example, I studied physiotherapy. If I didn't actually believe I was going to be a qualified physiotherapist and therefore be able to get a job and all of that stuff when I was studying, I probably wouldn't have studied very hard, or I wouldn't have committed to studying it. So I know that's a bit of a silly example, but if you look at anything you actually commit to, it's because you believe in the outcome that you're going to get. Like if you've got a gym program or a yoga practice and you don't actually believe you're going to get anywhere with it, you're not going to commit to it. So this is no different. So we will only pursue something to the extent that we truly believe in it. So to the extent that we believe in the products, to the extent that we believe in the business, the compensation plan, we're only going to actually apply ourselves to the extent that we believe in it. So it's got to be a first step. And for us ourselves, because we're going to bring that into every conversation that we have, we're going to bring our belief. So only 7% of communication is words. 55% is our body language or our physiology or our energy. And our belief is something that can be felt. And people will follow or do business with someone that they know, like, and trust. And trust is a felt thing. So if you fully believe in the system of products and you're talking to somebody and you're frothing out and it's just in your body that you're like, why wouldn't you want to use these? It's like, I know what they've done for me. People can feel that level of certainty. Whereas if you don't have belief, they're going to feel a level of uncertainty. So the extent to which someone trusts they'll get a certain result, they'll be willing to invest in a solution. So again, if you're speaking to somebody about the business, about the products, if somebody believes that they're going to get the result, so they're going to lose the 5 kilos, they're going to get the energy that they haven't had in years. If they believe that that's going to happen, they'll invest in the solution. If they don't believe in that, they won't. So where we often fall down is we don't fully believe because we don't truly understand, yet we're trying to convince other people of something that we don't actually truly believe in. And that's why it can feel hard sometimes, because you're saying and doing all the right things, but you're not embodying it. So like embodiment is a term that gets thrown around a lot of, just gonna get rid of that glare. Gets thrown around a lot of spiritual communities and like personal development world, and it's like embodiment, embody what you're preaching. And it's something that's really important in this, like you need to embody your belief in all parts of this opportunity so that people can actually feel it. So it's not just this nice idea in your head. When you're actually sharing with people, they can feel it in your body, because that's what's going to create that trust. So there are a few different areas to believe in. So just go into the chat box and just put out of 10, what your belief in each of these areas are. So just write products and then a number out of 10, company, a number out of 10. Do it all in the one sort of chat thing. And just go down and just check in. And there's no right or wrong answer. Like if you haven't even been looked at the full compensation plan, your belief, and 10 out of 10 is like frothing on it. It's not like, yeah, cool, like I believe in it. That's not a 10. 10 out of 10 is like, yes, like this is it. And you could go toe to toe, look anybody in the eye and you'd be like unwavering. That's a 10. Because if people think a 10 is like, yeah, I think the products work, or yeah, I think I can make some money doing this, or like, yeah, like that's not 10. 10 is like, this is where we're going to hear from Rory across a few of these, because he's explored a lot of different things in the entrepreneurial space. So he's got a lot of valuable stuff to share. So Jam, products 10, Jamie, products 8, products 9, 10, Rory, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 8. Nice. Products 9, 9. Beautiful, 9. Jamie, nice. Block, sweet. Company, products. Compensation plan 10. Network marketing 8. Self 10. Self marketing. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. And like I say, there's no right or wrong answer for these. It's just self-awareness. Because you're going to go through ups and downs. And while you're in the process of building belief, and I'm going to like, Meg and Callum will relate. I'm sure after David Wood, it was all 10s. It was 10s all day. The day after that event, it's like, wow. And that's because your environment, you get it. But then life happens. You go through ups and downs. So you're going to go through ups and downs with this stuff. I know I have. So it's important that we're checking in with and actually getting a solid foundation and being aware of this for your people when you bring people on. Because the reason that people shy away and don't have success with this opportunity is because they weren't given a chance to actually build their belief. They weren't given a chance to truly understand all facets of it. So when things get tough, it's easy to say no. Whereas when you actually understand and truly believe it, you can still have the tough days and the shit weeks and the tough weeks. But if you're sitting at a 2 across all of these and you have a bad few days, it's enough for you to be like, nah, too hard. Whereas if you actually truly understand that and you're working at building your belief in all of these different areas, then it's actually very hard to sway you. And this is a concept to take into any area of life, because the fact is you're doing something different and there's going to be inertia to keep you where you are. Like things like to keep doing what they're already doing, whether that's being still and not doing much or traveling down a certain path. To change direction or to actually create something new from being pretty stationary is going to require effort, and that effort needs to be funneled into building your belief. So the products, most people have pretty good belief in the products because that's pretty simple. Like you put the products in your body, you feel how good they are. That's like sweet. The thing I'll touch on about the products is a lot of people get to about an 8 because they're like, I know they make me feel amazing, but I don't know enough about them to be a full 10. So the reason I have such high belief in the products is because I actually went and learnt all of that stuff. I didn't learn it so I could tell people. You know, you don't have to become a walking encyclopedia, but learn so you know. Like I just had one of my new cleansers actually send me an article that somebody wrote like 4 years ago. It was a personal trainer talking about the products, and she's like, oh, what about this? And questioning a few ingredients and this sort of stuff that was all just taken completely out of context. But that's happened to me a lot. But because I actually know the quality of the products and what's in them, and I've done the research, I've spoken to the sports dietitians, it's never been enough to move me. But if you've got people that are just starting out, that are talking to people about this and their belief isn't quite there, it can be enough to sway them. So, and the biggest thing is there's the belief in self. So that is often the thing that will stop people pursuing this, especially once they get to an event. Like you get to an event, you see the company, you see the culture, you start to build your belief in network marketing, you understand it all. Often self-belief can sneakily show up as, oh, I don't believe in network marketing, or maybe the company's not for me, or even though at one point you were a 10, but then the self-belief and the ego and the self-doubt and the self-sabotage can actually creep its way in to chip away at the belief in those other areas. So really this is where, and then next week we're going to be talking about expanding your influence and becoming a better you, but this is where the personal growth aspect of this is so important, because your business will only grow to the extent you grow yourself. And inherently we've been grown up in a world that's told us not to really believe in ourselves. It's like, listen to what you're told, do what you're told, your ideas aren't worth much, and you should just go in this direction. So to actually go against the grain and do something different requires a lot of self-belief. Now, do you need to be 10 out of 10? I'm just going to keep up with this chat box. Thank you. Oh, solid. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually get Rory, before I go on to the next one, just to share a little bit about, especially around sort of the compensation plan and network marketing, because who feels like, just by show of hands, they could raise their belief needle a little bit in network marketing? Show of hands. Yeah, everybody. Nice. Because, yeah, sweet. Because the fact is, we're living in an age where there are lots of opportunities. Do you know what I mean? There's lots of shiny objects. There's lots of ways you can make an income online. There's lots of ways you can do things. I might get Cal to share a little bit actually, because he's explored a few different options too. But so it's like, of all these opportunities, why network marketing? Why put your eggs in this basket? So Roz, I'll just
Yo,
you unmute yourself. Yeah. So I just want you to share, and I'll just like preface this by saying, like, for like, it'll be nearly 2 years now that you've been working with the Entrepreneurs Institute.
Probably about 3 now, man.
3, yeah. So Rory's been working with the Entrepreneurs Institute with a guy named Roger Hamilton for about 3 years now, as one of the things that he's done. And so part of that has been helping facilitate and sitting in on these retreats that literally help people build their businesses. So people building businesses, some are bricks and mortar, some are just online businesses, but entrepreneurs in all different fields and all different facets all around the world. So he's got a unique insight into what it actually takes to set up a business and to create some sort of systemized income, and also the behind the scenes. So when you hear about a business turning over $300,000, what lifestyle is the person who owns that business actually living? Because that's what counts. A lot of people, we come to this because we want to create more freedom in our lives. And it's like, how much freedom is actually being created by all these people that are doing 6 months and their businesses are, you know, these successful businesses? How much freedom actually is there compared to what is seen in network marketing? So yeah, Roz, I'll just get you to share some insights on that, my man.
Man, where to start? I think, it's been a really cool journey, dude. And I think this is something, 5 years into being in like this network marketing space, it was all pretty fresh for me when I got into it. And like before we started, like we were thinking about like starting our own practice, being self-employed physios. That was our way of branching away from being employees and working for someone else's dream. And like, at the time, like because of our consciousness, they were the only options available, right? But then I guess this got sort of thrown into our world, and my world especially, and it sort of hit me out of left field, right? And because I'd never grown up around business, I'd never been taught about business, that wasn't my thing. I didn't really understand the concept. So, something that seemed too good to be true, or something that seemed too easy, or something that was like, not well understood, like networked enterprises. Even now, it's still probably early majority for the consciousness around businesses like this actually being accepted. People are still on a traditional business model. So, I think the context I can give you guys is to really just really lay down some hard facts, man. And these are the simple truths that I've learned through doing over time. but also looking under the bonnets of $50 million plus businesses. I've seen guys spend $400,000, their life savings, lose relationships, invested in an idea that was never going to be profitable. I've seen $50 million plus businesses who are, that's their revenue each year, but the guys running it are running it 100 hours a week, and their expenses are $51 million per year, which means they're running at $1 million loss every single year. So it's like the most expensive hobby in the world, right? Even though on the surface all their branding and their company cars and all that shit looks amazing, they don't have the time and they're running at a loss. So it's like, it's all smokes and mirrors. And I think that's the biggest thing for me, is because now I'm in this entrepreneurial world, and everyone's got an idea. Everyone thinks, they're going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm in Bali, like everyone thinks they're a digital nomad, and I know the average income of the people living here is between 150 and 250 bucks a week, which is like 5 cycles for you guys. You know what I mean? And what's quite interesting is, like, even the women, one of the girls I work with, she's got a really successful business, digital marketing business, and she's like working through the co-working spaces in Bali. She's like, the only people that I've actually seen who have like time and abundance, every time I talk to them, they're doing freaking isogenics. And I was like, and that was the reason why she did the products with me. And she's interested in the business, but she was like, every single person I met, like, Morgan Nelson, Cameron Byford, even Spads, who's getting 5 or 6 cycles. Yeah. Sorry, what was that, Tom?
Ben Kelly,
even Joel Brown's plugged into this space, and leverage the network and et cetera, right? So it's like, it's super, super interesting that, that is the case. The other ones that are doing it pretty well are digital marketing, cryptocurrency. So, and I think this is where the radical alignment needs to come into it, because it's like, for me, like, I stepped into the crypto space, I stepped into all these different shiny objects, but realistically, my heart was with helping people with their health and well-being, because that's what I really cared about. And the other stuff was just like an investment opportunity, right? So when it comes down to like, what do you actually align with, and who do you partner with, and what do you actually, who do you help have a bigger impact in this world? You look for conscious enterprises that, one, you love the products, you love the people, you love the community, you love the values, you love the mission, you love the vision. And it's like, if you tick all those boxes, like, sweet. Now it's like, okay, cool. How do I actually make a business out of this? And this is the most, like, probably the biggest takeaway thing for your networked enterprise is, like, I've been doing my sums over the last 5 years for expenses in my network marketing business and the return on investment, right? So say the first year, my investment was like, $3,500 in a business. Now, most of you might not actually understand what it means to start a business. It's like, you're probably still an employee working for someone else, and this is your first attempt at being self-employed and actually, having an impact yourself and making your own money. But the truth is that 95% of people who start their own businesses will fail within the first 10 years. 80% fail within the first 5 years, right? So, and the reason is poor cash flow, poor financial management, or the other one is an inability to sustain growth. So you just can't give the service and you can't keep up on it. So eventually people get pissed off your product and they go somewhere else. So, if you know those 3 things, then you're going, well, shit, I've got a business that the only overheads for my first year was about $3.5 grand, which was me eating my own food, which I would have done anyway. And then it was like the only other investment on top of that was events and a bit of travel, which was maybe like 5 or 6 grand. So I'm looking at like $10,000 in my first year. And, I was able to tap into it. And I was a physio. I had a big network already. I'd already done a bit of self-development. So for me to get the influence and actually get, the first like 10, 20, 50 people on board was quite easy. So I was able to make maybe $60,000 in the first year. So $10,000 investment. I ate my overheads, and then I've turned over $60,000. So that's like a 5x, 6x return on investment. And that's my first year, right? And what tends to happen is most traditional businesses will not break even until their 3rd or 5th year. So, every single cycle you get, like every single cycle, man, it's residual income. And like, please go Google that and understand it, because like now 5 years down the track, say I'm earning $200,000, $250,000 a year residually, because of impact and duplication. Like, obviously you have to help your first 10 people, you have to get the wheels rolling, help your first 100 people. To help 10 is easy, to influence 100 means you need to grow in leadership, which just happens over time. To influence 1,000 means that you need to learn to duplicate, which means that you need to learn to lead the leaders, which means, again, you have to level up. You have to, do the Donkey Kong level 1, level 2, level 5, level 10, and eventually you start to lead from the front, lead from behind. And that's all the process. And I went through like year 2, year 3, year 4, learning all this stuff. And it was freaking hard, man. But it's the normal learning curve with any business. And to get to a point now where it's like, say, residual income business where remember I was saying all these business owners are turning over all this money, but none of them have their time. I've got all my time every week and I've still got that money. So even if I don't work, I still get paid. And people do not understand this. Like, time is the most valuable resource. And that's what networked enterprises give you, especially if you learn to leverage the Be Well community, especially if you learn to leverage Isogenics, because then you don't have to go create it. So, and like a $200,000 residual income business is equivalent to, I think it's like evaluated at like 10x or 20x. So you're looking at like a 5, 10, $15 million valuation, if someone wanted to buy that business asset that's turning over that every year. So like, if you really get this and you go, well, shit, I'm going to eat my heads. I'm going to spend 3 to 4 grand a year, five grand on events. This is my side hustle. I'm going to do it. I might go have a job, or I might use that to invest in my next business or whatever. But the thing is it's like, it's so simple. It's so easy. And the only thing you have to do is learn how to have a bigger impact. The more people you impact, the more money you make. So if you want to get to $200,000, you might have to learn how to influence 10,000 people, which means that you might have to commit for a certain period of time and learn the skills and leadership needed to influence that many people. And I see a lot of your Instagram profiles and stuff. So some of you guys have already got it there, man. You already can influence. It's just linking it and aligning it with a product and a service that you believe in, and then shifting some of those people from there to there. So I don't know if that gives a good overview, but do you have any other questions, man?
Nah, that's pretty solid overview, man. I just wanted to hear, because you can rattle off the stats and you can see the slides and you can like Google it and watch the YouTube stuff, but to hear it from somebody who's actually spoken to people and looked behind. And the thing is like lifestyle and time, because we live in a world that's like Instagram business. What does it look like? What does it look like? Oh, it looks like they're successful. It looks like what's actually happening behind the scenes. I really get that transmission of the time and the lifestyle you actually have compared to somebody who's, doing the grind and looks like they're earning all this money and have all this lifestyle, but they just don't. And really, marketing can provide more lifestyle freedom for people than any other business model that exists. And that's what I wanted to get across.
No worries, man. I just wanted to add as well is like, I'm in this world, dude, and people are so addicted to the complex. It's like the more complex, the bigger you can make it, the cooler you are. Like the harder you work, the harder you hustle. And it's like, I'm looking for simplicity. I'm looking, like, honestly, the mastery is in the simplicity. It's in the things that, like, if you can make something so simple that it actually seems too good to be true, but actually delivers on what it says it's going to do, that's the shit I'm looking for in my life. And it's like, there's so many, like, unconsciously incompetent people out there, and they're so addicted to their idea or their dream or whatever it is, and they're going to do it hard for their entire life. And if you find something simple that gives you your time back and allows you to create those results that you see and Be Well every single day, those messages you get from friends and family, it's like, that is the most powerful thing in the world. And like, for me, I use my time to then write a book. I use my time to then build a platform, because as soon as I got breathing space, people naturally in this environment, they want to do more and give more and things like that. And I just hope that every single one of you gets that opportunity to find that breathing space. It might be $1,000 a week. It might be $2,000 a week. And me and Tyler have talked about this. And it's like, because once you've got that breathing space for you and your family and maybe your close circle, it's like humans just become naturally fucking awesome. But we're all stuck in scarcity. We're all stuck in complexity. And it's I don't want to, well, I was going to say it's a dictionary contest in the entrepreneur world, but it could also be, I don't know, something feminine. I know it's like, I'm shooting myself in the foot here, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, there's just, I don't know, people just want to make it hard. And this is simple. And it's just like, if you can master this, man, it just opens you up for everything else.
Beautiful. Thanks, Roz. Appreciate it, man. Awesome. Whose belief in network marketing and ISA went up after hearing Rory speak just then? Yeah. Solid. So this is really important to just check in with, because this will guide your guide your learning. So to increase your belief, like skill builds confidence and confidence builds belief. So you can do all this stuff in theory, but if you work on your skills, the more skills that you have in terms when it comes to talking to people, everything that we've been doing in these videos, the more confident you're going to be in your ability to be able to do this. And the more confidence you have, the more belief you're going to have. So how do you build your belief? You learn and then you do, and you learn and then you do, and then you learn and then you do, and then you learn, and then I'm not going to repeat the rest, but you get the picture. Learn, do. One's a left foot activity, one's a right foot activity. If you're only learning, and I've been guilty of this, just like podcast all day, every day, but not speaking to anybody, and it's just left foot, left foot, left foot, I'll walk in circles. If you're not taking the time to learn and review and work on your skills and you're just talking to 50 million people, you're going to walk in a circle the other way, but you're going to stay in the same spot. So to build belief, it's like, okay, check in with that tally. And it's like, what was the one that needed most work? Okay, actually my belief in network marketing is actually only a 3. I know nothing about it. Like, and get real with where you're at with your belief and then go to work on that. And I know I was speaking to Jamie and he was like, just plugging into David Wood podcasts every day. He hasn't even been to a David Wood event. And he's just like, oh man, like he just gets it. So that's the learning aspect. And then you combine that with the doing of actually talking to people, having launch parties and going through the system. You combine those two, your belief builds rapidly. So some actionable steps. In fact, well, the last one is events. Like events, and we did a whole call on this last week, but events build belief. It's the most efficient way to build belief because it builds belief in all of those areas simultaneously. Like I might even get, oh no, we're just about to wrap up, but just Cal and Meg, just share in the comments what the David Wood event did for you, just briefly, just in terms of like how much it increased your belief in all of those areas. Because the action item, again, these Monday night calls, it's cool to jump on, connect, see everybody, but what's going to change? So there's 2 action items. The first is what's the next event you're getting to? So we've got New Year's kickoff. Can you get that? We've got New Year's kickoff coming up in every capital city around the country. Have you got your ticket yet? I'm not going to the Perth one because I'm getting married that day. It's probably like the only event I've missed. And I reckon it's a pretty good excuse. But book a ticket to your next event. And then if you don't have one coming up soon, create one. I know Jem and Meg are doing launch parties super consistently over in the Sunshine Coast. We're going to start them down here in the Southwest. So get to events, look for events in your local area and actually like book one in. And then the next key event is celebration. So who's already got their celebration ticket? Show of hands. I've got about 6. Yeah. Cool. Ryan, I'll have a chat to you about celebration. Although you'll probably be hands on deck with new bub, but it's this event, like rapidly build your belief and accelerate. So wherever you want to get to, if you get to these events, you'll get there a year quicker. If you try to do this on your own, just listening to podcasts and staying on the outside, it's like, it just will be a grind. Get to the events and get your people to the events. So that's the first action item. Book into your next event. The second is plug into learning. So figure out what area you want to build belief in and then commit to plugging into podcasts to actually build that belief. So if it's network marketing or the compensation plan, just show of hands, who's seen David Wood's podcast, Amplified Network Marketing? Show of hands if you have. No, so there's a few that haven't. So just write that down, Amplified Network Marketing with David T.S. Wood. I think he's got like over 100 episodes. And it's just phenomenal for giving an insight to an education around and building belief around network marketing, compensation plan, the company. And I just be plugging into those daily. The other podcast is just the Isogenics podcast, and that's just on the podcast app. And there's a search function and you can just click products and you can just start listening to podcasts on all the products. So learn. The more you learn, the more you'll understand and believe, and then it'll just start to flow through you. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm just going to quickly see. Why is that not popping down? It's not giving me the chat box. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm just going to end recording.